Hey Adam,
Hey, buddy.
can you hear me and see me?
Yes, let me check my volume real quick.
No, you sound perfect here.
Excellent. I think that's probably the most important part on these things. Good.
Hey, and so what I've learned is on these things, it's we keep it about 15 minutes because anything longer and then the people necessarily they turn it off. They don't even listen past 15 minutes.
Yes.
So, all right, viewers at home, we're here on behalf of Garage Gym Life Media, and I, Riccardo Magni, am having the pleasure of interviewing one of my best friends, Adam Glass. And thanks, Adam, for taking the time to join us. Now, Adam, you and I both train at home. We have garage gyms, not to mention that we don't necessarily venture out into the world of commercial gyms. But right now, obviously, with the crisis, with the COVID, we're all training hard at home. Hey, but here's my question for you. Okay, someone's starting a gym, and all they could do was start with a heavy dumbbell. You've shown a lot of inch dumbbell and now even bigger than the inch dumbbell. I mean, just massive dumbbell training. Tell the viewers at home why starting with just a simple dumbbell and some rubber mats to drop the thing on is a good idea.
So the first thing I would point out is there's a huge benefit to moving something off of the floor very, very low where we have to drop our hips down and standing up with it. And the thing is when it's only one side of the body, it actually gets a lot of muscular activation throughout our spine, our abdominals, our hips, because it has to stabilize itself, to not get pulled out of the way. So when we look at it in the context of, I want to get a lot done, not necessarily that I don't have time, but I want to be using the best use of my time. I think a very heavy one-hand lift, especially done low to the floor, is very, very useful. There's some other handles that we train with, things like the Rolling Thunder, some of the other plate, a handle that clips onto a loading pin. Those are good, but you would notice if you went pound for pound, a dumbbell starting right by your heels compared to way up above the knee, how energetically taxing that is. It's impacting our heart, our lungs. It's going to get you sweating. For me, Riccardo, I love it because I can get a lot of work done that way very, very quickly. I kind of grew up over the last 20 years with a lot of kettlebell work over the years. So transitioning from doing lots of swings and kettlebell snatches to going to just very heavy deadlifts was a very smooth transition for me.
So what if people didn't have, I mean, those Thomas Inch dumbbells are not exactly on every Craigslist or around the corner.
No.
What could a lifter do? What if they just had, and this is for female lifters too, there's plenty of female lifters out there. What if they had a 40 or 50-pound dumbbell and a pair of fat grips? Could they get some work done that way, Adam?
Absolutely.
All right. Talk about what that might look like, please.
So particularly if you had access to a couple different sizes of fat grips, I think every man out there, you should definitely get a pair of blue grips and then really take a look at how far the 20 bucks or whatever goes to get you a pair of those orange grips. For ladies, I would definitely recommend the Fat Grip 1, which is a smaller diameter cuff. It's going to be a better fit in your hand. It's going to give you like more of a comparable load to say what myself or Riccardo has when we grab a blue grip. And then the blue grips, I think, are very useful for ladies.
Yep.
With that one dumbbell, the factors that we could use to really go far, we could transition from deadlifting the bell to starting to high pull the bell. We could try to clean the dumbbell. We could try to snatch the dumbbell overhead. We can throw it up and attempt to catch it with the other hand. We can do slower type pulls too. We can do shrugs. We can do bent over rows. And I mean, there's a million variations of a rowing motion. On top of that, I think things like kind of a cheating power curl, having that dumbbell on the ground and really pulling up using a lot of body English. Not that one rep is necessarily hard for you, but maybe you go through and you do 50 or 60 reps in a couple minutes. That really has a full impact on the entire body.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I know some of the viewers at home have never tried an inch dumbbell, so they don't know what it's like to feel it just rotate and just rip right out of your hand. They haven't experienced that delightful feeling. But a lot of them have fat grips. They have them in their gym bags, they have them in their garages, they're ready to go. And they may have access to dumbbells, or they go on Craigslist later and see, yeah, there's a guy with a pair of 80-pound dumbbells for sale. And I know, and you know, that they can get a lot of bang for their buck with dumbbells. So, how would you go about structuring some kind of a workout for someone who's brand new to this, but really wants to make a difference in 2020 for themselves? And they're not going to make excuses. They want to get in there and get in better shape, but again, all they have is dumbbells and some fat grips. Talk about what that might look like for them, as far as what are some ideas for like a 1 hour workout.
So first, guys, I'll tell you what I do. What I do is over the week, I'll have really two different kinds of dumbbell sessions. I have one dumbbell session where I come in and guys, it's just toil. I will select an amount of time and I will attempt to pick that dumbbell up as high off the floor as I can, as many strokes as I can in that unit of time. And that is such a tremendous thrashing. I actually feel the most depleted from that kind of session than any boot camp session I've done, or CrossFit WOD I've ever tried, or kettlebell insanity, 10 exercises chained together. Because, and it's like Riccardo mentioned, I'm using a very heavy dumbbell, guys. When it starts to break the floor because it's one solid mass, it's trying to turn in your hand and fall. So every attempt, there's this incredible jolt of focus where you're trying to just pin your flesh into this metal and weld it into your hand. And it is a different kind of thing than if you tried, say, a max dumbbell deadlift, but you use a strap on your hand. Not that that is a bad thing to do either, but you would find that having to really just crush from your fingertips all the way up to your throat, all the way down to your toes, every single rep. Riccardo, I think it's like we see it in the Okinawan karate and the Taekwondo, the old style Taekwondo from Korea, where these guys would do these sessions, and a key part of what they're doing, no matter what they're doing, was this continuous full body bracing over and over. And it seems to have a positive impact. So I do that session, and that's the session that I look for. The other session that I'm doing is I will take one of my dumbbells out, and I'm just I track a lot of different kinds of PRs. Mm-hmm. I'm tracking PRs of maybe how fast I could do singles over a couple minutes. I might be looking at, if I'm trying to continental a bell, can I get it up into my sternum 3 or 4 times in this amount of time? But there's going to be sessions where it is a lot of volume, and then there's going to be sessions where it's more creativity and fun. Now, besides those two things, I'm doing some kind of shoulder press or a bent press or a kettlebell snatch almost daily for the benefit of my shoulders. I like to do handstands, push-ups. I like to do chin-ups and pull-ups. So what I would say for someone's structure is, number one, the first question for a lot of folks entry level, are you someone who is trying to lose body fat right now? Or are you someone who's focused on gaining more muscle mass? If your objective is you want to lose more body fat, what I would suggest is start with maybe a 12 to 15 minute window of time and work to first increase the amount of reps you can do, and then try to get that same number of reps done a little bit faster and a little bit faster. So maybe you get yourself up to the point and you can do 100 high pulls with your dumbbell in 8 minutes. Well, you might come in on another session and the goal is 100 reps, but it's also in maybe 7 minutes and 45 seconds. Try to shave some time off. Right. If you want to gain more muscle, I would say work with a shorter block of time and work to move that weight both for a longer duration of time in your hand and with more explosiveness as you go. So you might start off with, you're doing deadlifts and you're ripping that weight with every single time you go. And as the sessions go on, your deadlifts are becoming more and more high pulls. Or if you were using an inch dumbbell, it could go from where your reps are quite tilted to where you're just pulling up reps to bringing them to being incredibly level. And there's little games we play with that, you know, stacking cans and coins on them. But it's going to give you something stimulating to keep going in. The mindset I would want you to take into it is, if you can take this small amount of time with, you know, no one calling, no one texting, hopefully someone in the family can help the rest of the family to where you can just get this small amount of time and then make yourself go out there and do it. The results will be tremendous. You know, Riccardo, I think for a lot of people, when they get a personal trainer, the success they get initially is probably less about any one thing the trainer does or thinks, and more in the sense that the person really wants to get the most out of their investment. You know, maybe that first 10 sessions, they really show up because they really want to feel like they're getting their money's worth out of it.
Exactly.
And if the people watching this can take that same enthusiasm to, hey man, you've got 30 minutes right now. The kids are not going to come to get you. You're good to go to train right now for 30 minutes. Take that enthusiasm in there, like, you know, like it's the most important 30 minutes that you're ever going to get.
Exactly.
And if you can keep creating that mental space, tremendous change.
I couldn't agree more. You know, one of the things I think that these dumbbell workouts can bring to someone is it can refine their whole body composition, right? So they're going to get muscle. They're going to get sore in places they didn't know they had because they're not used to that unbraced lifting of 100+ pounds pulling you over. It's no joke. And I think, you know, you and I have both lifted like this, so we know what it feels like. But if you're brand new and you've never done it, your arms and biceps are going to be sore, your forearms, all kinds of places, upper back, traps. I mean, and like you said, if they stick with it for a period of time, they're going to see muscles in places they didn't see them before either. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
So what do we think that for people who are on the fence or not sure, I mean, they can watch you lift on Instagram, they can watch me lift. What do we think? What do you think it's going to take to convince someone who's never tried this kind of lifting before to give it a go? Especially if they have a garage gym and they have the fat grips and they have all the stuff, but they just haven't necessarily, you know, put the engine in gear, so to speak.
You know, I would think, I think the best way to know for yourself is to try a sample, you know, a little morsel. So, you know, here's a challenge that we could put out for viewers. Okay, if you weigh under 200 pounds and you're male, I'd like you to try to get your hands on, for this experiment, a 100 to 120 pound dumbbell in a fat grip. You probably can do that somehow. If you're over 200, let's bump you up to maybe 140 to 145, maybe 150. Ladies, if you're under 160, 170, probably a 45 to 55. If you're over that, maybe 75, I think would be plenty heavy enough.
I agree.
And the challenge I would have you guys take is, we'll give you two. Okay. So if you're really not sure about this, you just want to try it out, I want you to take a timer, either on your phone or a classic, you know, kitchen timer, put it up for 10 minutes, get that bell at least above your knees and back down on the floor as many times as possible. You can switch hands as much as you want. You can stop whenever you want, do whatever you want. But for 10 minutes, you're going to try to bring it up off the floor to standing. If you think if you're feeling really fit, we could play a game to try to hit a number. So let's say, could you do 5 and 5 every minute for 10 minutes? So could we get you to 100 there? I want you to do that session. I want you to experience that next day, the day after. And then I want you to ask yourself a real question. What would it be like if you could go for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 60 minutes? What if we could increase the weight by 60 pounds and you could still go for that much time? What would it be like for you if you could do it for 10 straight minutes and you felt no actual impact from it and then did the rest of a workout? Exactly. How amazing would that be? I think that, to me, Riccardo, is what would, you know, for the people who really want to see how much better they can get, it's something practical that you guys can do to figure out, what's really going on here with all this.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's very practical and it's very doable. And there are hundreds, thousands of people at home that have the equipment. They have a dumbbell, they have a fat grips, and they could get started on this in 15 minutes. Go to the bathroom, mix up some water and protein or whatever, ready to go. They can walk in the garage and do it. And I think this is a fantastic way. And then I really like what you just did there is you outlined a plan for success because you gave them 2 options and then they can track those PRs. And like you said, if they make 50 lifts today, let's say today is Sunday because it is, and then maybe they tried it again on Wednesday and they made 53 lifts. Hey, that's a win. They just improved in 3 days. And then maybe the next Sunday, they made 57 lifts. So already they've improved by 10% in a week. And by more than 10%. And that is the key. People, I think, at home, they can improve on their own with some simple ideas and guidance. And I love that you gave the viewers some challenges and you spelled out some weights for them to give it a go. I would love it to see if people try this out. I really hope they do. So,
and I'll add one, Riccardo, that for you guys that have a barbell set at the house, that one fat grip on the center of that barbell, and hey, just start with, 95 to maybe 115. And it's really cool if you can use small plates. Like if you had enough 5s and 10s to get the bar really low, I will tell you a session of a 1-arm barbell deadlift, because you have to stop it from canting too much.
The seesaw.
It will wear you down. It will build you up if you keep going.
Yeah, I love it. All right, Adam. So, hey, tell the viewers at home, for those of the people that aren't following you or we're going to start researching your lifts, what are some goals you have for 2020 as we wrap up this interview here? What are some of your goals for 2020, be it dumbbell related or others?
So first of all, for sports related, I compete with Riccardo of Armlifting USA. Last year, I was able to secure first place. I love it. First place finish at the Olympia with some very tough competition. My goal is to come back into Vegas at the end of this year and to match up with whoever shows up and take that Uno again. Mm-hmm. I am personally looking forward to participating in the 2020 King Kong. Mm-hmm. I think that they got a lot of fun events. Now, if you just heard that and you're like, whoa, what's that? You need to look into this King Kong of Grip international contest. It happens all over the world in about a week period. Hundreds of people coming out, comparing, having fun. For my personal training, so I just got myself a 200-pound inch dumbbell. So the handle is about the thickness of a Red Bull can. It is very challenging to lift. So I have another bell that's a little bit heavier than that. So I have some ambitions about being able to lift these 2 bells off the floor at once, over 400 pounds, being able to carry them around the yard with those thick grips. I'm really getting close to being able to very strictly pinch curl a 45-pound plate. I was able to do it a couple of years ago. I've had some elbow problems from work, and as soon as I'm over the hump on that, I think I'll have that. That's awesome. And probably the big one too that I've been chasing it for so long, man, will be to be able to one-hand clean the classic 173-pound Thomas inch dumbbell, which if I'm successful in that, I'll be the lightest person to do it, probably until Tanner Merkel does it.
Yeah, those you're going to be a busy dude with those goals. That is some real goals. And for the people who aren't really familiar with the Thomas inch dumbbells, they can go on Google and research it. They can download on YouTube videos of Thomas inch dumbbell lifting and see what it's all about. But it is no joke. And if you can clean that thing at your body weight, that would be feat of the year by far. And that would be so impressive. So I want to thank you for taking the time to share your wisdom and knowledge with the viewers at home here, Adam. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to watching some more crazy dumbbell videos from you this spring. And I will for sure see you in Las Vegas in September. So if not.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us here at the Garage Gym Life magazine. Thank you.
Thank you, Riccardo. Thank you, everybody. Train hard, guys.